Thank you for joining the January 7th, 2020 VOLTA call. Just a reminder to everyone that the VOLTA meetings are public and recorded, and we post these recordings to YouTube after the meeting. So please be mindful of that during the discussions today. And with that, Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome back. This is our first meeting for 2020. We'll catch up a little bit on seeing if there are any non-brigade related JIRAs that have come in over the past few weeks that we need to discuss with the group. And as of last night, at least, I did not see any all-discussed JIRAs, but we'll take another look this morning. And those are our two main topics today. Any other items that the group would like to add to the agenda for discussion? Okay, then let's go ahead and get started. So going back to the recent issues over the past few weeks, most of them, I think, are brigade related. We did have a fair number that have come in since we haven't had a meeting for a couple of weeks here. Some of them are log related, and I do not believe that we have a brigade for that. If I have forgotten while I had my vacation, please let me know. So Vol 2356, and that is core log level command line arguments should take log level names, not int value. And so currently it's the integer value is being used, and that one is currently being worked. Any discussion or comments on this item?
So we could put this in the VOLTA FCAPS brigade if we want to.
Okay.
Rohan is in that brigade.
Okay. Zach, so would that be for all of the logging evolution ones, Scott?
I would have to see what else is in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I know we've got some logging stuff in the brigade. I thought we had it all, but
you may. I just will have to check and see if we need to update the filter. So we'll do that after the meeting. Okay, so that one we'll add to FCAPS brigade. Thanks, Scott. Again, I've took a couple of weeks off, and all of a sudden everything looks new to me. So bear with me as I get restarted with the meetings. And then next we've got 2357. So this one I would expect is going to fall into the same category. This one is OpenOLT adapter, log level. The first one was core. We've got OpenOLT, and then the third one, 2358, is OpenONU adapter. So all in the same category. So Scott, I think all of those would probably go under your brigade then.
Sure.
So Julie, is those off fatal error warning information debug trace, are those inclusive?
So
is Rohan? I'm just wondering whether maybe initially people do the 0 to 5 because that's how you set the the syslog sometimes, right? So but right now, do anybody have the knowledge when the one listed are inclusive to all the status?
So I think sometimes maybe there's a critical which is above fatal. I don't know. I'd have to look into it, and I'm not sure that we always support trace. So I think maybe part of this task should be to find out what log levels we do support and make sure this list is correct. Maybe we should drop that comment on one of the items.
David was
part of the idea was look, here are some log levels, and I think to be fair, they were derived from maybe some of the Java loggers to begin with. But not all languages that we use for logging packages will support all the log levels. And so these log levels represent kind of the abstract, and they may be implemented differently per language. So a language may not support trace, and so when you set log level to trace, the logger for that language will have to interpret what that means in that context. And so it may, for Golang, for example, the logging package, if you set debug and trace, you may get the same log level.
Mm-hmm. Log, bug, and trace. But would there be any like a categorization of the log to become language specific?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
What I'm saying, is there is that a mapping going to happen or something like that?
Yeah, there's a mapping between kind of the abstract logging levels and language specifics, or really logging implementation specifics.
Okay.
And also there are other things like warn versus warning and upper lowercase comparison. I would rather have input be strict, but people can, just to make implementation simpler.
Yeah, I think we should have, a strictly dictated list, and any input from the user should use that list so that the user does not have to worry about what language a particular component is written in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the documentation will handle that, about the mapping, about what's covered. Okay.
Okay, any other discussion or comments on these items today? Okay, then let me move up, I think 62362. Let's see, I had this one flagged. This one would have been, with the stabilization label, I think probably actually was under the stabilization brigade, so we may not need to discuss this one, and
It's
it is
resolved
already as well. So enable OLT endless loop on OpenOLT adapter restart. Any comments before we move on? Okay, then we had a couple that were related to release management, because we did have 2.2 released towards the end of last year. And so 23, 71, and 72 are related to those. And so those are done as 2.2 was issued last year. So any discussion on those topics before we move on? Okay, and then let me move up. I think I need to go to the next page. And let me scroll down to the bottom, 2386. Okay, and this was again related to some of the efforts for 2.2. Mateo had created a JIRA for creating a structure for the VOLTHA Docs website, and then that has a documentation epic for it as well. And so this one was done also. Any discussion we need to have on that item today? Okay, then 2393, let me check. I had this one flagged. Yes. So 2393, this one's not currently in the stabilization brigade. And I think, Kent, you had provided a comment back. So I wanted to see what we need to do to resolve this issue. So compilation error when compiling VOLTHA Go with local protos environment. So we're looking for a commit ID for the local protos was the last comment added in here at the end of December. So is there any follow-up we need to do here so we can, this is dependent on once vol 1643 is done, then I think this item will go away. But meantime, we may be able to close it out if we provide some more info to Kesavan.
It looks like there's just confusion about the migration of V2 to V3, so I don't have much more than that.
Okay, and then I think, let's see, 2408. Okay, this is another logging related item. In a way, use logging.
But Julie,
from VOLTHA.
the 2393 is a blocker.
For this particular person, right? And so we have the comments that Kent had provided with until we have the migration work complete with VOL 1643. He suggested that they check out an older version locally, so that way it unblocks their particular work.
Okay.
So it may just be we need some assistance from the community or some guidance. Go back on how to do this form. I don't know if that's something anyone.
Version 3 of the protos was a major refactor. Many of the message elements amongst all of the protos are being changed to support newer languages or different languages, Java, possibly to support different states in VOLTHA. The protos have been defined, and they have been checked in and tagged as a version 3.0.0, but there's nothing else in VOLTHA that has been coded to work with them yet. That work is ongoing. Anybody trying to use version 3 of those protos, it will not work until the migration is finished, unless you want to work on the migration,
right.
Which in that case, by all means, please proceed.
I think he was asking whether there's a commit ID for the version 2.
Right. That was the last comment I saw.
Did we tag the protos before we did the version 3 upgrade, correct, Matt?
I don't recall. I would hope so. But I mean, even if we didn't, we can retroactively tag it. I mean, we could take the commit just before 3.0 and tag that.
Yeah.
With the protos, because it's a library, we're supposed to be tagging every version. So whatever the highest 2. Something tag is, we should be able to use.
Yeah, as long as
we
it
could go
got
based
committed.
on what most of the components are using, right? Right now, VOLTHA Go, VOLTHA Live Go, VOLTHA OpenOLT, they all use, I mean, probably 2.2.3 or 5, something like that. You know, generally go with whatever the consensus is, at least with the component you're most, working with most closely. But it's a 2.2. Something, I'm sure. And none of the components can use any of the protos unless they're using a tagged version anyway. So there is a tagged version out there that will work with what you're trying to do. Now, the real question here is why do we need the V2 proto? If that why is because there needs to be changes to the V2 proto before we're ready to have it in the V3 proto, that implies there may need to be a branch.
Yeah, I'm not sure we want to do that, just from a complexity point of view.
Right. So again, it's the question of why are local protos needing to be messed with is the bigger issue here.
Yeah, I think rather than designating the priority on this as a blocker, maybe in the related issues list, if it listed what issue it was blocking, then we would know what the developer's trying to do and whether he really needs local protos or not.
So shall we change the priority here and then make this one as a blocking for something else, or I don't know, that's the 1643?
Yeah, I'm trying to find, I think I have to go into edit here. Okay, and what do we want to put for the priority here?
Until we know what he's trying to accomplish, it's unclear what the priority is.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave that unchanged for now then. Not sure if we have anyone familiar with the issue. Okay. Any other discussion on this item today? Hopefully we can have some follow-up in the JIRA comments to resolve this issue for the developer. Okay, and then next we've got 2408, and this one is Dawn views logging from VOLTHA Library. This is for OF agents, and that is under review and JIRA at the moment. Any discussion on this item today?
Is that a to-do or in progress?
I would say it's in progress since it's got a patch out there under review. So I'll change that to. And then if we're planning to put it in 2. I don't see any other comments on this one. Probably need to change this to 2.3. Okay. And I believe those are the ones I'd seen last night that appeared to be non-brigade related. Let's see if anything new has come in. And we've got let's see, got a few, this was from yesterday. This one has a brigade. We have a new defect, 2427. Open OLT adapter should not ignore indication when OLT is transitioning from admin up down to admin up. And David, it looks like you've got some comments in there. Any discussion on this item for this call? Okay, I think that's it for the new non-brigade related items. So let's go back and see if anything has come in for all discuss. And still, I think we have nothing there. We do have a number of unassigned items still in the non-brigade dashboard. And so those are open for folks to pull in as they free up. Feel free to assign these to yourself if there's something you think you can tackle. Okay, so those were our 2 topics for today. Anything else that we need to discuss with this larger group? All right, I'm not hearing anything. I believe we're going to have a demo on Thursday, so we'll have our usual 7 a.m. Pacific meeting on Thursday. And if you have additional items you'd like brought up with the group, please let me know so I can get that slotted in on the agenda. And then just a heads up to the brigade leaders, I think probably we'll see if we can get the brigade update document updated this week and issue or provide a link to those updates to the community. So I'll send an email out to folks about that later, but just a heads up on this call. So I think that's it. Just one last call before we drop the meeting today. Any final items before we break? Okay. So thanks everyone for your participation. I'll go ahead and stop the recording.